This episode of Bullet Heaven was made possible by Doragon Entertainment. Many bullet hell shooters have come to be independently released on various platforms in recent years. A great many. Some are insanely good. Crimson Clover and Reframe Prism Memories immediately come to mind, but many more are quite a bit less than spectacular. Look no further than Nyx to see what we mean. All too often, indie devs will take a vertical or horizontal scrolling shooter, add a bunch of bullet barf to the screen, and call it a day. Sunny Tam of Doragon Entertainment is not one of those devs. Doragon's latest, Danmaku Unlimited 3, is a game that stylishly allows for new and veteran players to get their fix in one spot. How does it do this? Let's take a closer look. As far as bullet hell style games go, Danmaku Unlimited 3 is one that follows a lot of the same conventions that you'd find in a game like Dodanpachi or Mushihime-sama. Very sharp 8-wave movement gets players around the screen at a good feeling rate without feeling rushed. Players are armed with a rapid shot that can be fired while moving at full speed. There's also a concentrated laser attack that's activated while firing. This will slow movement down for more precise bullet navigation. Finally, a bomber attack allows players to clear out enemy shots in a pinch. Danmaku Unlimited also features an auto bomber which helps players avoid death straight out of the gate. In advanced modes, the auto bomber uses up all of the bombs in the stock, while more basic modes have a little more leniency. On a basic level, there's nothing complex about the controls at play here, making things easy enough for newcomers to have fun, and solid enough for veterans to chew on it for a long while. But like many great shooters, there are hooks to the gameplay, which is where the game's core mechanics come into play. Grazing bullets is highly emphasized in Danmaku Unlimited 3. The small glowing core on the player's ship is all that's vulnerable on the whole thing. Getting super close to enemy bullets results in a spark to let players know that grazing has occurred. But there are also mechanics that feel a lot like Bullet Soul here as well. In Spirit Mode, defeating enemies will transform their bullets into spirits, just like in Bullet Soul. Unlike Bullet Soul though, these ghosts actually serve a purpose. Flying through them counts as a bullet graze, and, like grazing the actual bullets that enemies fire, they will fill the trance gauge on the right-hand side of the screen. When the trance gauge is full, an indicator will flash and trance mode can be activated. Options exist for automatic and manual trance activation. In trance, all shots are turned into golden gems on activation. The player's offensive power is subsequently greatly enhanced, allowing for a ton of damage to be dealt, so long as there is power left in the depleting gauge. Defeated enemies and their shots are turned into golden gems. Trance mode factors into scoring, which we'll take a look at in a moment, but it's also the fastest way to execute boss kills, so knowing how to graze every enemy pattern is key to getting as many trance mode activations as possible. On the other side of things, there's the Graze Mode, which features only hard and stupid hard difficulties, which will surely make for an engaging time for veterans, but a much too stressful environment for newbies. In Graze Mode, the bullets shot by enemies are not converted to collectible souls per se. Instead, as players graze up against live shots, a gauge will build under the graze combo counter in the top left-hand corner of the screen. When this gauge is full, High Graze Mode is enabled, which then, and only then, converts defeated enemy shots into collectible spirits. There's also an alternate blue gem type in this mode, which helps build the player's graze gauge when more are collected and bullets are brushed up against. Once again, trance mode can be enabled once the trance meter is full and behaves more or less like trance in the Spirit Mode. Danmaku Unlimited 3 starts players off with a total of 2 credits to start, but more open up with extended play. This will help players get further the longer they stick with the game, but ultimately the goal is to get a 1cc here, just like always. On the whole, Danmaku Unlimited 3 plays extremely well and definitely warrants repeat play for a smoother 1cc and taking out the true last boss. In addition, there are some decent score hooks here as well, which should add quite a bit more playtime for those looking to compete on the Steam leaderboards. For even more replay value, there are unlockable weapon options when certain conditions are met through regular play, but I haven't been able to unlock any because, surprise surprise, I'm nowhere good enough. Extra modes like Boss Rush are unlockable, and other modes for practice also exist. Nice. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, there are a couple of issues too. We have a fairly decent system, but frame drops can sometimes happen more or less at random, even with an NVIDIA GTX 750, a quad-core Intel processor at 3.2 GHz, and 8 GB of RAM. This is well above the minimum requirements for the game. Stranger still, it seems to be worse in windowed mode the lower the resolution is. Another issue that we discovered was that our Xbox 360-based Hori Gempad EX controllers were not able to be picked up despite full controller support. However, when we switched over to the Pokken Tournament Pad, which has an identical D-pad to the Gempad EX as it turns out, it worked flawlessly. Strange. As such, so long as you have the right controller and a beefier system than ours, you shouldn't run into any problems, we think. Danmaku Unlimited 3 takes a fairly easy approach to its scoring, basically using Trance in Spirit Mode to create as many gems out of the enemy shots as possible, and collecting gems in Graze Mode will do a pretty good job of boosting a player's score in real time. Building up a good Graze combo is also a pretty good way to get some decent bonus points as well. Boss battles make for a great opportunity for extra points as well. Making it through any given phase of a boss battle, through both normal and a trance-style barrage, will result in a significant flawless phase bonus. However, during boss battles, if a player is hit in any sort of way, the flawless phase bonus is nullified and nothing is awarded. Higher difficulties will also yield much higher scores in this regard as well. Especially at stage end, collecting as many gems and grazing as many bullets as possible can result in a great deal of extra pointage. The total amount of bullets grazed and the gems collected combine to form the stage end score. There will also usually be a bomb extend awarded with stage clear as well. As always, continuing with another credit wipes the score, and all bonuses and multipliers are nullified when lives are lost. The Steam leaderboards also add a good amount of replay to the game on the whole, allowing players to compete against others on the worldwide circuit to see how they stack up globally. Danmaku Unlimited 2 was a pretty great game in terms of its presentation, but as good as it was, Danmaku Unlimited 3 is just insane by comparison. Everything from its visuals to its sound is a huge improvement no matter how you look at it. Visually, Danmaku Unlimited 3 has an incredible sense of style. The atmospherics alone make for a game that looks simply amazing at all times, complete with really cool backgrounds with muted color. Player and enemy ships are equally cool looking, with animation that really makes them pop. Are they 2D? 3D? Who can really tell? Either way, they're pretty freaking sweet. Returning with a familiar music style, Blankfield once again delivers with a great guitar-heavy OST that matches the action on screen to a T. Stage 3 in specific struck me as the best track in the game though, with its cool electronic ambience for the first half of the piece. Meanwhile, all of the sound effects at play work perfectly for everything they represent. Amazing stuff. Rounding out the presentation is a really cool, simple, minimalist font set for the title. An easy-to-navigate UI, Steam achievements, full options for all controls, as well as screen options including Tate mode, and even Steam trading cards. All in all, a pretty great package. But how does it stack up? Let's take a look. The controls themselves in Danmaku Unlimited 3 are fine, perfect even. The real issue here is the lack of controller recognition for certain Xbox 360 pads. The Hori Pokken Tournament Pad came through and worked wonders though. As far as challenge goes, Danmaku Unlimited 3 will give most players a run for the money later in the game, even on easy. Starting with 4 decently long stages and ending with a finally enormous 5th stage, there's a lot to play here. Factoring in practice, achievement hunting, and score chasing, Danmaku Unlimited 3's length is super solid. Visually, Danmaku Unlimited 3 is one of the coolest shmups I've played in recent years, and from the very first time I saw it on Twitter, the playership is definitely one of the coolest ones that I've ever seen. Sound-wise, while it isn't my favorite style of music, Blankfield's rock-heavy OST does the trick in Danmaku Unlimited 3. The sound effects are, unsurprisingly, spot on. Danmaku Unlimited 3 doesn't do much out of the ordinary with mechanics that we've seen in previous Danmaku Unlimited titles and others like Bullet Soul Tamatamashi. But what it does do is super refined and very solid in the end. At just $10 US, Danmaku Unlimited 3 is definitely a game worth checking out. Its multiple modes and decent replay factor makes it a game that's more than worth its asking price. Doragon Entertainment definitely knows how to craft a sweet game. It might be a little out of my grasp, especially in Graze Mode, but I had quite a bit of fun with it and I'll definitely be back for more. Danmaku Unlimited 3 gets a 4.75 out of 5. You can get a copy of Danmaku Unlimited 3 today on Steam for about $10 US. Indie games can be pretty amazing, but it doesn't always turn out that way. Here are some other games from small teams that weren't quite as good as we'd hoped. On another note, the official alternate tracks for Ghostblade HD are now available for purchase on Bandcamp.com. Just mosey on over to smpmusicproductions.bandcamp.com and you too can snag the full official 11-track alternate album with never-before-heard bonus tracks for just $7. Link in the description below. And of course, all proceeds go directly back into production. We all win.